Good morning and welcome to your hospital procedures, vaccine, and immunity PowerPoint lecture. So let's get started. I did want to start out by showing you where in Schoology you can find the lecture and the notes and the PowerPoint. So we are in Unit 2 up here. Let's see if I can. So Unit 2 up here, and we are in Module 4. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And today, here is the PowerPoint that we'll be going over. Right here are a copy of the notes if you don't have them already printed out. But there is the PowerPoint and the copy of the notes, all in Unit 2, Modular 4. All right, so I first wanted to start out by going over the terms to know. So here are the terms to know. The terms we'll be using, there's only 6 of them that we'll need to know for this particular PowerPoint and section. So active immunity, the animal's own immune system produces antibodies in response to an antigen by either natural or artificial means, and I'll explain more of that in the PowerPoint. Antibodies are proteins produced by the lymph system in response to foreign organisms or substances that are trying to invade your body or the animal's body. An antigen is any substance that induces an immune response to the body. And immunity is having resistance to a disease due to the presence of those antibodies. Then we have passive immunity. Antibodies are received from another individual, such as a mother before birth or right after birth through colostrum. And then we have vaccine, a suspension of killed or modified organisms that stimulate an immune response when introduced to the body. So those are the terms to know for this unit that you will need to know. All right, let's move on to the notes. So here's a copy of the notes. This is both in Schoology and we have printed them out for you. So you can take notes as we're going through the PowerPoint. This starts off with infectious diseases, what they're caused by, transmission, non-infectious diseases. Then you go on to the next page. Talks about you could put the fill in the blank for immunity here. Write the definition for antibodies and antigen. Sometimes that helps to write things out. And then it has passive immunity, active immunity, and some spots for you to fill in the blank there. All the words I am going to say are also written out here. So if you need to read through those, if you missed something in the PowerPoint, you can always go back through and listen, but it's also written here for you. And then here are some dog diseases, their symptoms and transmissions, and then whether they are bacterial or viral. So those are all dog diseases that we tend to vaccinate for. And then here are the cat diseases. Again, with the difference between if they're viruses or caused by bacteria, the symptoms, and how they are transmitted. So, and then last but not least is routes of administration. So some of this has to do with medication. Others, it has to do with how to give medications and stuff like that. So we do have different routes of administration that you can fill in with your notes as we continue through the PowerPoint. So make sure you're taking notes. We do encourage you to use colors because that tends to help as you're going through and writing things out. So hopefully you have some colored pens or pencils. If not, go ahead and pause me and go get those things. And I'll see you back here for the PowerPoint. All right, so we are going to start with slide 3 in this PowerPoint. And we're going to go ahead and open that up fully. So we have causes of diseases. So we have infectious diseases are caused by bacteria, viruses, fungi, fungus, rickettsia, helminthes, protozoa, and arthropods. They enter through the skin, mouth, mucous membranes, lungs, reproductive tract is how they enter into either our body or the animal's body. There's direct transmission and then there's indirect transmission. So direct skin contact, ingesting of the infected of an infected animal, inhalation, sexual or reproductive contact. And then we have indirect transmission. So those are through vectors like mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, flies, when they bite the animal or us. Then we have vehicles. So equipment like brushes and buckets and food bowls and water bowls, instruments, utensils. So that's really why we need to make sure that we clean all our animals' food bowls and water bowls, and make sure that we're cleaning those on a regular basis, because that is one way that bacteria and viruses can enter the body. And then you have fomites. Water, air, soil, and food is another way to introduce bacteria and viruses into our bodies. So important to do those things for us: washing our hands, making sure our eyes, we're not touching our eyes or mouth or face. Those things have become very important to us in these last, I guess, half of the year already. Last 6 months or so, as we continue to fight this pandemic. So it's important for our animals as well to make sure that they stay healthy. All right, non-infectious diseases then are caused by dysfunctions of the body system. So those could be nutritional deficiencies. Sometimes reptiles, if they're not fed the correct diet, they can get calcium deficiencies and their bones don't grow correctly. Poisonings, physical injuries, stress, genetics, and environment can also cause diseases for animals and humans as well. All right, moving on. We have immunity, a function of the lymph system and protects the body from infection, disease, and foreign bodies. So we have passive immunity, and the mother gives this passive immunity through colostrum and also through the bloodstream and the placenta before the puppy, kitten, foal, calf is even born. They are given some passive immunities. And then right after the puppy, kitten, foal, calf, piglet is born, it's very important that they get that first milk that is called colostrum. It's not as clear and white as normal milk. It's kind of a yellowish color, a little stickier, and it has a bunch of immunities. So anything mom has come in contact with or been vaccinated against, she can pass those immunities on to her young for a short period of time. It does go away, and that's why we start to vaccinate about 6 to 8 weeks of age, because that passive immunity starts to go downhill. We want to start coming in with the vaccine so that they can continue with that immune response. So, active immunity. Antibodies are produced by natural or artificial means in response to an antigen. So, there's two ways this can happen, two ways of active immunity. One way is through natural, getting the disease, getting the infected by the organism, whether it's bacterial, viral, and your body then fights it off. So that is natural. The other way, least harmful kind of way, doesn't cause you to be down for too long, is by artificial means, and that is through vaccination. And we've heard a lot about that the last couple months in trying to get a vaccination for the coronavirus. And so getting a vaccine would help us move forward and past this pandemic. So it is important to vaccinate our animals and that we are vaccinated to help protect us, because getting the disease itself has much more complications, and horrible things can happen versus getting the vaccine. So active immunity, two ways, natural or artificial means. Natural is you get the disease, you kind of suffer through it as your body learns and figures out how to fight it off, those bad antigens. And then the other way is artificial, by getting a vaccine. All right, and then routes of administration. So we have oral. So we give medication orally. That means through the mouth. We have intranasal, through the nose. SQ, subcutaneous. Subq is in the subcutaneous layer of the skin. It goes epidermis, dermis, and then the subcutaneous layer. IM is intramuscular, in the muscle. IP is intraperitoneal. That's in the abdomen or abdominal cavity. And then IV is intravenous, so in the vein of the animal. Sometimes medication are given. So typically our vaccines are given sub-Q. After that, there are some that are intranasal. All right, I think that is it for our PowerPoint. Just going to go through the notes and make sure I didn't miss anything. When we talked about vaccines, vaccines are substances that upon injection into the animal stimulate an immune response. It doesn't tend to be as strong as actually getting the disease, but your body still recognizes that. So if it comes in contact with it again, it knows how to fight it off. The two main types of vaccines are modified live and killed. The modified live vaccine is altered forms of specific antigens that are similar enough to the original disease-causing agent to cause a strong immune response without causing the disease. So without causing the animal to get sick. Animals may be a little lethargic or run a bit of a fever for like a day after getting vaccinated, and that is just their body reacting to that modified live vaccine in them and their body coming up with a defense. So if they ever come in contact with that disease, they have a way to fight it off. So chickenpox is a great example. When I was younger, we just got chickenpox. So we got immunity through natural. We got chickenpox, and that's the way it was. It was miserable. It was horrible. You itched. You had a fever. It was no fun. You couldn't go out and play with your friends unless their mom wanted them to get chickenpox too. So that is natural means. Now there is a vaccine for the chickenpox virus. And so kids nowadays vaccinated, they may feel a little lethargic. A chicken pox or two may form on them, but that is just their body mounting a defense, figuring out how to counteract that virus. And so, if you ever come in contact with a person who has the chickenpox virus, your body is like, I've seen this. I know what this is. You just go boom, 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 and that's how you fight it off. So that is how kind of vaccines work with the body, in a very simple form explanation. So, and then killed vaccines are disease-causing agents that are inactivated by heat, chemical, or mechanical means. Immunity developed with this vaccine is generally weaker than a modified live vaccine. There is also a possibility that the animal is allergic to the compound used to destroy the disease-causing agent. So we have had in the past, we've had some ferrets seem to be very sensitive to some vaccines that we give to them, and have had reactions to them. And that is definitely something you have to be aware of and watch, and make sure that you can get them to the vet, or that they stay at the vet to be treated. So the ferrets we had started throwing up, and just had some reactions, and we were right there at the vet's office still, and they were able to give them some Benadryl and stuff to kind of counteract that. So we are very cautious when giving some of the vaccines and stuff to our animals. If they have reactions, you can always try a different company, see if they use something different in the vaccines, so they don't have that type of allergic reaction to that vaccine. So, all right, guys, that is it. Again, make sure you look over those terms to know, review the notes, and make sure you fill out those notes. Replay this PowerPoint video if needed. All right, thanks. Bye.